Before your fingers type those words you've rehearsed 100 times in your head. Before you hit send on that message that's been sitting in your drafts for 3 days. Before you give them another piece of your piece, pause. Just pause. Because what I'm about to tell you might save you from 6 more months of confusion. It might save you from another year of wondering why you're not enough. It might save you from the kind of heartbreak that changes you. And here's what nobody tells you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not respond at all. I know your heart is racing right now. I know you've been staring at their message, dissecting every word, every emoji, looking for hidden meaning like you're decoding ancient hieroglyphics. I know you've asked your friends what you should say. I know you've typed and deleted 17 different versions of the same message. But before you do anything, let's talk about what's really happening here. The truth you're avoiding, you already know what this is. Deep down, beneath all the hope and the what-ifs and the maybe this time will be different, you know by the way they only text you after 10 p.m. You know by the way they disappeared for 2 weeks without explanation and came back like nothing happened. You know by the way your stomach drops every time you see their name on your screen, not because you're excited, but because you're anxious about what version of them you're going to get today. Here's the thing about breadcrumbs. They're designed to keep you hungry, not to feed you. And right now, you're so hungry for their attention, their validation, their half-hearted affection, that you're treating breadcrumbs like a feast. You're telling yourself that something is better than nothing. You're convincing yourself that inconsistency is just their communication style, that unavailability is just them being busy. But let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this question. Would you treat someone you genuinely cared about the way they're treating you? Would you leave someone on read for days and then pop back up with, "Hey stranger"? Would you make plans and break them? Would you say you miss them but never make time to see them? Would you give just enough to keep them interested but never enough to make them feel secure? No, you wouldn't. Because when you care about someone, you show up, consistently, clearly, without games. Ichuaru, the pattern you keep repeating. And I need you to understand something else. This isn't the first time you've been here. Maybe it's not with this person, but it's the same pattern, the same dance, the same role you keep playing in the same story with a different face. You're the one who gives more. You're the one who understands more. You're the one who waits more. You're the one who forgives more. You're the one who tries more. And they're the one who takes, who pulls away, who comes back when it's convenient, who keeps you in this exhausting cycle of hope and disappointment. Here's what I need you to hear. You're not healing by staying available to people who make you feel unstable. You think you're being patient. You think you're being understanding. You think you're being loving. But what you're actually doing is teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable, that your time has no value, that your peace is not a priority. Every time you respond to someone who treats you as an option, you're telling them and yourself that you're okay with being treated that way. Deshabu, what texting them back really means. So, before you text them back, let's be honest about what that message really is. It's not just a text, it's a statement, it's a declaration. It's you saying, "I'm still here, still waiting, still willing to accept less than I deserve, still hoping you'll change, still believing that maybe this time will be different." It's you giving them permission to continue the pattern. It's you reopening a door you worked so hard to close. It's you choosing temporary comfort over long-term peace. And the cruel irony is this: the more available you make yourself to someone who's inconsistent, the less they value you. Because people don't value what they don't have to work for. They don't appreciate what they can access whenever they want without any effort or accountability. You think responding quickly will make them like you more. You think being understanding will make them treat you better. You think your patience will eventually be rewarded with their consistency. But it won't. It never does. Because you can't love someone into loving you back the way you deserve to be loved. The real question you need to ask. So here's the question that changes everything. Are you texting them back because it's what you genuinely want, or because you're afraid of what will happen if you don't? Are you afraid they'll move on? Are you afraid they'll think you don't care? Are you afraid you'll miss your chance? Are you afraid you're being dramatic? Are you afraid of the silence? Because if fear is driving your response, then you're not making a choice from a place of strength. You're making a decision from a place of scarcity. from a belief that this might be your only chance at connection, that if you let this go, there won't be anything else. But let me tell you something that might change your entire perspective. Someone who is right for you will never make you feel like you have to fight for their attention. Someone who is meant for you will be clear about their intentions. They won't leave you guessing. They won't play games. They won't make you feel crazy for wanting basic communication and consistency. The right person won't make you anxious. They'll make you feel at peace. They won't confuse you. They'll make things clear. They won't come and go. They'll stay. Rewritten, the fantasy versus the reality. I know what you're doing right now. You're thinking about the good times. You're remembering the moments when they were fully present, when they said all the right things, when it felt easy and right and perfect. You're holding on to those moments like they're proof that this could work, like they're evidence that underneath all the inconsistency and confusion, there's something real worth fighting for. But those moments, they're not the exception. They're not glimpses of the real them underneath all the issues. Those moments are just part of the cycle, the highs that keep you hooked through the lows. Here's what you need to understand. You're not in love with who they are. You're in love with who they could be. You're in love with the version of them that exists in those perfect moments, the version that texts you good morning, the version that makes plans and keeps them, the version that makes you feel chosen and valued and seen. But that version only shows up sometimes, and sometimes is not enough to build a relationship on. Sometimes is not enough to give your peace away for. Sometimes is not love. It's a lottery, and you deserve more than gambling your emotional well-being on whether or not someone decides to show up today. What they're really telling you. Let me tell you something that might be hard to hear, but it's the truth you need. When someone wants to be with you, you'll know. When they don't, you'll be confused. All the mixed signals, that's your answer. All the inconsistency, that's your answer. All the excuses, that's your answer. Because if they wanted to, they would. It's really that simple. If they wanted to text you every day, they would. If they wanted to make you a priority, they would. If they wanted to commit to you, they would. If they wanted to show up consistently, they would. The absence of their effort is their answer. The confusion you feel is their answer. The excuses they give is their answer. Stop trying to decode their mixed signals. Start believing their actions. Someone who is genuinely interested in you will not leave room for doubt. They will not keep you in limbo. They will not make you wonder where you stand. They will make their intentions crystal clear through consistent action. And if they're not doing that, if you're constantly trying to figure out what they mean, what they want, where this is going, then you already have your answer. The cost of staying available. But let's talk about what it's costing you to stay in this pattern. Because every text you send to someone who doesn't value you is taking you further away from someone who will. Every hour you spend analyzing their messages is an hour you're not investing in yourself. Every night you spend anxious and confused is a night you're not at peace. Every piece of energy you pour into someone who's not pouring back is energy you're stealing from your own growth, your own healing, your own happiness. You're so focused on getting them to choose you that you've forgotten to choose yourself. You've made them the priority while you've become the option. You've given them the leading role in your life while you've accepted the supporting character in theirs. You've rearranged your entire world around their inconsistent presence while they've barely made room for you in their schedule. And here's what breaks my heart. While you're over here trying to prove your worth to someone who doesn't see it, you're missing out on the people who would celebrate it, the opportunities that would nurture it, the experiences that would expand it. You're turning down invitations because you're waiting to see if they'll text. You're declining opportunities because you want to be available if they call. You're putting your life on hold for someone who isn't even standing still for you. The cycle has to break, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but what if this time is different? What if they really are going through something? What if I give up right before it gets better? Let me tell you something. If you've had that thought more than once, you already know the answer. Hope is not a strategy. Waiting is not a plan. Patience is not the same as self-abandonment. Real change doesn't require you to keep proving yourself. Real growth doesn't happen in circles. Real love doesn't keep you guessing. And if you have to convince yourself that this time is different, then it probably isn't. The truth is, you've already given them more chances than they deserved. You've already been more patient than was healthy. You've already made more excuses for them than they've made effort for you. Bait. So before you text them back, ask yourself, what am I really hoping will happen? Are you hoping they'll finally see your worth? They already see it. They just don't value it. Are you hoping they'll finally commit? If they wanted to commit, they wouldn't need you to keep asking. Are you hoping they'll finally be consistent? Consistency isn't something you should have to beg for. Are you hoping this will finally be the conversation that changes everything? If a person wants to change their behavior toward you, they don't need the perfect text to inspire them. They need the genuine desire to do better. What you're actually afraid of. Let's get really honest about what's happening here. The reason you want to text them back isn't really about them. It's about you. It's about what you're afraid will happen if you don't. You're afraid of silence. You're afraid of loneliness. You're afraid that if you let this go, there won't be anything else. You're afraid that maybe they're right. Maybe you are too much, too needy, too sensitive, too dramatic. But here's the truth. The right person will never make you feel like you're too much. They'll make you feel like you're more than enough. The right person won't require you to shrink yourself to fit into their life. They won't make you feel like your needs are unreasonable. They won't punish you for wanting clarity, consistency, and commitment. And the reason you're struggling so much with this person, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're trying to force something that isn't naturally flowing. You're trying to water a dead plant and wondering why it won't grow. You're trying to force a connection with someone who's not meeting you halfway. You're trying to build a relationship with someone who's only offering you construction materials every other week. The 70, the power of walking away. Here's what nobody tells you about walking away. It's not about them, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about remembering your worth. It's about choosing your peace over their potential. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you care about yourself more. It means you finally realized that you can't love someone into being ready for you. You can't convince someone to choose you. You can't force someone to give you what they're not willing to give. And the most powerful thing you can do is stop trying. Stop trying to be perfect enough. Stop trying to be patient enough. Stop trying to be understanding enough. Stop trying to be cool enough, low maintenance enough, easy enough. Because none of that changes anything. You could be the most perfect version of yourself, and it still wouldn't make someone who's emotionally unavailable suddenly become available. Their capacity has nothing to do with your worth. Their inability to show up consistently doesn't mean you're not worth showing up for. Their confusion doesn't mean you're not clear. Their inconsistency doesn't mean you're not valuable. Sometimes people aren't ready for the love you have to offer. Sometimes people are too broken to recognize the gift you are. Sometimes people are too comfortable in their patterns to choose something different. And that's not your responsibility to fix. What happens when you choose yourself? So, what happens if you don't text them back? What happens if you choose yourself this time? I'll tell you what happens. At first, it's uncomfortable. You'll feel that urge to reach out. You'll feel anxious. You'll wonder if you made the wrong choice. You'll be tempted to check if they noticed your absence. But then something amazing starts to happen. You start to remember who you were before you gave all your energy away. You start to remember what peace feels like. You start to remember what it's like to not spend every moment wondering what someone else is thinking, feeling, doing. You start to remember that your worth isn't determined by someone else's inability to see it. You start to invest in yourself again. You start saying yes to opportunities you would have declined. You start showing up for friendships you've been neglecting. You start pursuing dreams you put on hold. And slowly, the space they occupied in your mind starts to shrink. The power they had over your emotional state starts to diminish. The hold they had on your heart starts to loosen. And you realize something profound. You don't need their text to feel okay. You don't need their validation to feel worthy. You don't need their inconsistent presence to feel whole. You were whole before them. You're whole without them. You'll be whole after them. The truth about closure. I know you're waiting for closure. You're waiting for that final conversation that explains everything. You're waiting for them to finally give you the answers you deserve. But here's what I need you to understand. Closure is not something someone gives you. It's something you give yourself. Closure is you accepting that you may never understand why they did what they did. Closure is you acknowledging that some questions don't have satisfying answers. Closure is you deciding that your peace is more important than your need to understand. Sometimes people don't change. Sometimes people don't realize what they lost until it's too late. Sometimes people never realize at all. And you can't wait around hoping they'll have some grand epiphany about your value. You can't put your healing on hold, waiting for an apology that may never come. You can't keep giving pieces of yourself to someone, hoping they'll finally appreciate the whole picture. Your healing begins the moment you stop waiting for them to be different and start accepting them for exactly who they are showing you they are. Not who they said they were in those perfect moments, not who you hoped they could be, not who they might become one day, who they are right now, today, in this moment. And if who they are right now isn't someone who consistently shows up, communicates clearly, and treats you with the respect you deserve, then who they are right now isn't right for you. What you deserve. Let me tell you what you deserve, because I don't think anyone has reminded you lately. You deserve someone who doesn't make you question if they care. You deserve someone who doesn't leave you on red for days and then act like nothing happened. You deserve someone who makes plans and keeps them. You deserve someone who doesn't need you to convince them of your worth. You deserve someone who is sure about you, not someone you have to convince to be sure. You deserve morning texts and goodnight calls and someone who thinks about you during the day and tells you. You deserve someone who wants to be part of your life, not someone who wants you to be convenient for theirs. You deserve someone who makes you feel at peace, not anxious. Someone who makes things clear, not confusing. Someone who adds to your life, not someone you have to subtract yourself for. You deserve to be someone's priority, not their option. You deserve to be someone's choice, not their backup plan. You deserve to be someone's certainty, not their maybe. And you won't find that person while you're still entertaining the one who treats you like you're ordinary when you're extraordinary. Ishishu, the message you should send yourself. So, before you text them back, I want you to text yourself instead. I want you to send yourself this message. I deserve better than this. I deserve someone who is sure about me. I deserve consistency. I deserve clarity. I deserve peace. And I'm choosing myself today. I'm choosing my worth over their validation. I'm choosing my peace over their potential. I'm choosing to believe that something better is waiting for me, and I have to let go of what's not serving me to make room for what will. Read that message every time you want to text them. Read it until you believe it. Read it until you feel it. Read it until you know it. Because the truth is, you already know what you need to do. You knew before you clicked on this video. You knew before you typed and deleted that message 17 times. You knew before you asked your friends what to say. You've known all along. You're just afraid to trust yourself. You're afraid to believe that you deserve better. You're afraid to let go of the familiar, even if the familiar is hurting you. The hardest truth. And here's the hardest truth of all. Sometimes the person you need to walk away from is someone you genuinely care about. This isn't about whether they're a good person. This isn't about whether you have chemistry. This isn't about whether you could work in theory. This is about whether it's working in practice. This is about whether you're being treated the way you deserve to be treated. This is about whether this relationship is adding to your life or taking from it. And you can care about someone and still know they're not right for you. You can have feelings for someone and still choose to walk away. You can love someone and still love yourself more. Because love without respect is not love. Connection without consistency is not connection. Potential without effort is not potential. It's an excuse. And you've spent too much time making excuses for people who should be making efforts for you. What happens next? So here's what's going to happen. You're going to close this video. You're going to look at that message again. And you're going to have a choice. You can text them back and continue the cycle. You can give them another chance to disappoint you. You can hold on to the hope that maybe this time will be different. Or you can choose yourself. You can put your phone down. You can breathe. You can trust that you're making the right decision even though it's uncomfortable. You can believe that your peace is worth protecting. And if you choose yourself today, I promise you this. Future, you will thank you. Future, you will look back at this moment as the turning point. The moment you stopped settling. The moment you started believing you deserved better. The moment you chose your worth over someone else's validation. Because 6 months from now, when you're in a better place, when you've healed, when you've grown, when you've moved on, you won't regret choosing yourself today. But if you text them back, if you give in to the urge, if you settle for breadcrumbs one more time, 6 months from now, you might still be in the same place. Still confused, still anxious, still wondering, still waiting, still hoping, still trying to convince someone to choose you. Basit, final words. So before you text them back, ask yourself one last question. What am I really choosing here? Temporary comfort or lasting peace? Because that's what this choice really is. It's not about whether to text them or not. It's about whether you're going to continue prioritizing their feelings over your own. It's about whether you're going to keep accepting less than you deserve. It's about whether you're ready to choose yourself. And I know it's scary. I know it's hard. I know you don't want to give up on something you've invested so much in. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what's familiar and trust that something better is waiting. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is close a door that should have been closed a long time ago. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to stop giving your energy to someone who doesn't value it. So before you text them back, choose yourself instead. Choose your peace, choose your worth, choose your future. Because you deserve someone who doesn't make you feel like you have to fight for their attention. You deserve someone who chooses you every day without you having to ask. You deserve someone who is as sure about you as you are about them. And that person is out there. But you won't find them while you're still holding on to someone who's already let you go. So let go. Choose yourself. Trust the process. Your healing starts now. Remember, not texting them back isn't about playing games. It's about honoring yourself. It's about protecting your peace. It's about making room for what you truly deserve. You've got this.